The passenger liner continued on its way. It passed by a starbase outpost that transmitted a pre-recorded welcome message before automatically granting passage to a nearby hyperlane. As the vessel prepared for its next hyperspace jump, something was happening inside. Deep within the passenger-only area of the ship, nearly 5,000 military-aged men and women were gathered in a concert hall. They stamped their feet rhythmically while a charismatic man delivered a rousing speech. "Who's gonna crush the Vestum clan and bring freedom to our land?" "SLA!" the crowd cheered. "Who's gonna make the Voldemort pay for centuries of oppression?" "SLA!" "When Kumase demands blood, who answers the call?" "SLA!" "Who are we?" "SLA!" "I can't hear you!" "SLA!" Chapter 22. A Plan to Find the Keystones. Everyone find a seat and act casual. We are just a group of friends gathering for a day at the flea market. Ponnico waited until Trig, Tenna, Kara, and Appia were all seated at a picnic table, slowly munching on food truck slop. Across the street, an open-air market was busy with people going about their daily business. Tenna had not spoken a word since leaving the ecclesiastical district, and nothing Trig did or said could prompt a reaction from her. But this time, Ponnico would do the talking. "Listen to me, everyone," Ponnico addressed the group. "We are all in great danger, and I fear my hesitation and reluctance to act has only amplified said danger." Trig raised his eyebrows. Even Tenna paid attention. "Do you remember what I said about my former friend, your father, Malum?" Ponnico began. "He sought power above all else, to surpass the gods, even." "Yeah, I remember," Trig admitted. Trig was struggling to pay attention. He was starting to feel a low-level headache, and the smell of sulfur made his nose twitch. "Well, there was one god in particular he sought to dominate," Ponnico explained. "Kumase, Spectre of Oblivion." "Doesn't she guide the dead into the next life or something like that?" Tenna asked, her voice unusually listless. "Yes," Ponnico replied, pausing to look at her before pressing on. "Malum found Kumase's existence offensive. I don't know why." "Neither do I," Kara added. "I listened to all of his rants against her, but he never gave a reason for his own grudge, just told me and the other girls why we should hate her." Ponnico stroked his beard, then turned to face Trig. "Manius said that you are going to collect the Keystones. After what happened at the prison ship, I think it's safe to assume Alex Camber is looking for them as well." "Camber? The guy I got this from?" Tenna asked, holding up her necklace. "Yes," Ponnico said. "For reasons I can't fathom, someone attempted to separate Alex from his keystone. That one singular action has set all of these events into motion." "What happens if you get all 6 keystones together?" Trig asked. Ponnico pointed up at the sky. "As the name implies, they are keys," he said. "When all 6 are used together, they will allow you to travel to Malum's sanctum via any point in the conduit network." "Conduit network?" Appia, Trig, and Tenna repeated. Surprisingly, Trig's mother provided the answer. "The conduit network was how the Horde's infiltrators moved around," Kara said. "Nagyari infiltrators, fifth columnists, and bewitched people would construct these things, these doorways. Any psionic person could walk into a doorway and travel instantly to another doorway, so long as you knew where you wanted to go before you stepped through." Kara put her hand on Trig's shoulder. "That's how you and I ended up on Eddleton. I walked through the conduit on Malum's ship. I knew there was a conduit somewhere on Eddleton, so I thought about it and stepped through." "So, they're like wormholes," Trig said. "Psionic wormholes." "Psionic wormholes, linked together in a web. crisscrossing most of Nagyari territory and the worlds they plan to invade. Think of it that way, Ponnico said. The Horde used this network to facilitate our war. We could move infiltrators, soldiers, and weapons through the network. We could even transport the Song of the Solitaire from one star system to another through the network, though it was a very difficult undertaking. Back then, subjugating the luminous frontier seemed easy. Tenna let out a sharp gasp. So, that must be how I got from Lightwater to Eddleton, she said. It most certainly was, Ponnico told her. I know for a certainty that there are 2 conduits on Lightwater. I built the second one. You must have stumbled into one of them while trying to escape from Elix. If you don't have a destination in mind, the network will spit you out at a random exit point. You're lucky to have appeared on Eddleton. You could have ended up in the Khan's flagship, wherever it is these days. Ponnico sighed, then pressed on. But I'm off topic. The most important thing is that all 6 Keystones, brought together, will grant access to your father's most private getaway. I don't think your mother ever got to see it. Kara shook her head. I know roughly where it is, on the 3rd planet in the necropolis, but that's all, she admitted. Trig stood up and started pacing around the picnic table, gathering his thoughts. So Alex Camber must be trying to gather up the Keystones, and he has definitely brought back the Chosen of the Great Khan. That much is certain, Ponnico said. The Khan's Chosen are active once more, and they seem to have new allies among both the Olenbar and the Sutherians. Trig put his hand to his chest and clenched his own keystone. So then, Manius is right, Trig said. If Alex Camber gets the Keystones first, he might get to my father's secret study, or whatever the hell you called it. There might be all sorts of horrible things in there. I believe you are correct, Ponnico said. Your father frequently alluded to experiments and research he conducted in his sanctum. I have no doubt that if Alex intends to breathe new life into the Horde, he will attempt to acquire whatever your father was working on. We must get to Malum's sanctum first and destroy his secret project, whatever it is. I want in, Tenna said. Tenna's voice caught everyone off guard. She seemed to have recovered from her sour mood, standing up to stare at Trig. I want to help you, she said, but there's a condition. Wait, seriously? Trig replied, looking at Tenna as though she were a different person. Does this have something to do with the prophecy Manius gave you? Tenna nodded. Then her determined expression faltered a little. Ponnico, Kara, and Appia all leaned forward, curious to hear any information about Tenna's prophecy. She looked uncomfortable, and then said, Trig, next time we get a moment alone, I have to tell you something really important. Then you have to make me a promise. If you keep that promise, I'll let you have my keystone. I know you need all 6, but that's how it needs to be. Appia pointed a finger at Ponnico. You've already got 2 of these things, she said. Where are the other 4? Entrusted to Malum's most loyal followers, the innermost members of the Chosen, Ponnico replied. They went aground after Malum died, but I have ways to find them, and I intend to help this young man hunt them down. Ponnico grabbed each of the children by the shoulder and made them face him. We have a long and difficult journey ahead. I will contact Cantor and make sure the rest of the crew is ready to launch the Cascade as soon as possible. Once we're underway, there will be no more wasting of time. I will teach you as much about psionics as I am able, and as much about the ship itself as Cantor will allow. You cannot be passengers where we are about to go. Kara, if you want to join us, you may. Appia, if the SLA can lend us any assistance, now is the time.